the different seasons of life that we go through really do affect our homeschool. So my friend Abby from Full-Time Wife Life and I are going to be talking about the seasons of homeschool and how they affect everything from our daily life to what we do in our homeschool, how we plan out our days, and all those types of things. And this is a video sponsored by the Adventurous Mailbox, which they have so kindly sent to my son Gregory, and he is going to share all about that in this video. But before we get into that, I'm going to first kind of give you a little bit of background to understand why them sending this package to Gregory was so important to him at this time in his life. If you're new to my channel, I'm Michelle, and this is A Common Life. I'm a homeschooling mom of 5 kids, ages 5 through 13. And we have kids who are currently all homeschooling. Some of them are going to a hybrid homeschool, and my son Gregory is not. But before I get into that, I just want to kind of go through the different seasons of homeschool that our family has been through over the years. And some years have been really, really hard. And honestly, this past year was really, really hard. And it was definitely a season. It was definitely different than any other year before. Now, like I said, this video was in collaboration with my friend Abby from Full-Time Wife Life, and we are actually filming a series of videos. So this is the first in the series. You can be looking for another one in 2 weeks from now. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel as well as Abby's channel so that you don't miss out on that video and the one that's coming after it. We are really sharing from our hearts. These are not necessarily like practical advice homeschooling videos. These are more heart-to-heart type videos about homeschooling, because homeschooling is about the heart. None of us would do this if we didn't have our heart in it. You know what I mean? Like we do this because we love our kids. We love our kids. We want to be around them. We want to share a good education with them. If we're religious, we want to share our faith with them. And you know that it's all about heart. Everything that we do in our homeschool is about heart. And so this series is basically about our hearts for homeschool and kind of figuring out how to take care of ourselves, how to find balance, and especially for this video, all about the different seasons of our homeschool. So to begin, we started homeschooling our oldest son when he was about 5 years old. We sent him to a hybrid homeschool. It was a Latin school, and he went 2 days a week, and then we homeschooled on the other 3. He was just in the pre-K program, which was kind of accelerated, so it was more like a kindergarten program. But that's how we started. And at that point, I was pregnant with our 4th child. He was born that spring. And when we discovered how difficult of a baby he was, he cried all the time. He had trouble eating and nursing and sleeping. And it was a very, very hard year. And so at that point, rather than continuing ahead with homeschooling, we decided to send our son to public school. Now, frankly, that season of our life was probably one of the hardest ones for me. My son was just very, very high needs and just generally a very miserable baby. I mean, he was just very, very sad, and he cried all the time, and he was just not a happy baby. And so at that stage of our life, we actually opted not to homeschool. And so I have always been the type of person that thinks you need to do whatever is best for your children. And so for us, that year and a half, we did not homeschool. Jump ahead about a year and a half or so. And at that point, we realized that for a variety of reasons, which I'm not going to go into in this video, that we really needed to pull our oldest son out of school and homeschool him. So we did that. And at that point, we had just him homeschooling. My daughter, who's 2 years younger than him, was a year below him in school, and she was in kindergarten. And so we let her just finish out the kindergarten year because it was a really great school, and we had no issues with that at all. And so she finished out the school, and I was just homeschooling one kid for about 4 months, and it went really, really well. And at that point, because I am kind of an all-in type of person, I thought, well, this is the point at which I want to just homeschool everyone. If I'm going to homeschool him, I want to homeschool everyone. And so we did not send her back to school, public school, for 1st grade. We instead homeschooled both of them. Now, at this point, my oldest was 6. And I had 4 children. And so my hands were very, very full. It was just a very, very busy time. But thankfully, you know, when your kids are in those early elementary school grades, like, you don't really have to do that much. And so it was easy just to get all the things that we needed get all of those done. And we were involved in a CC group, a classical conversations group. And so that was really helpful to kind of give us that accountability that we needed to keep going. So after that miscarriage, like I said, we weren't planning on getting pregnant, but just a couple months later, we were pregnant with Eric. And I was so, so sick. It was so hard. Homeschooling was hard. Life was hard. Doing anything was very, very difficult. I mean, it just really was. And so we kind of did the bare bones of homeschooling. We did our classical conversation stuff. We did our math. We did our reading and writing and spelling. And I think that was basically it. I didn't do anything extra on top of that because I couldn't do it. I didn't have enough energy. I was so sick all the time, and just managing 4 tiny humans while growing a human inside of me and being really sick was, more than enough. So once Eric was born, at that point we were in another homeschool year. And so he was born at the end of October. And I had planned that basically for the month of November, we were just going to take it really, really easy. I think was it my husband or friends, or I forget who, took some of the kids to the CC group, because I am a huge believer in taking 40 days after you have a child. I do not believe that you should just get right back up and go right into your life and go back to church and go back to activities and do all of those things. Historically, that is not really what people have done, because we are community-oriented people. We are meant to be in community. And people used to be more in community, and they would look out for each other. And when someone would have a baby, all the women would basically take care of the other children and take care of that woman. And she was usually given anywhere from 40 to 60 days, depending on the culture, to basically bond with their baby, learn how to nurse their baby, get rest because you're not sleeping as well, and heal. And so I'm going off on a tangent here, but I honestly think it's really important. I think you need to take that time. And obviously, if you have lots of little kids, you can't just take 40 days to stay in bed and rest. But I do believe it is important to take several weeks just to stay home, only leave for doctor's appointments, especially in this day when you can just order groceries and stuff like that, or you can send your husband out to pick up groceries for you. Just keep it really, really easy. I can remember after I had Eric, my husband went to the grocery store and he picked up 2 full carts of groceries just to kind of hold us over for a while. And it was so incredibly helpful. And we ate super easy meals like pizzas, and he would pick up food, and, we just kept it really, really simple. We had lots of people bring us meals, and that was how we survived. And so for that season of homeschool, it was basically bare bones. It was just do whatever we could and just have fun with our kids. So about 4 years ago, we moved here to North Carolina. And that first year, as we were kind of settling in, figuring out where we were going to live and all of that, it was honestly one of our best homeschool years. And that isn't because it was like packed full of things, or we had a lot going on, or we found really cool groups or anything like that. It was because it was a very, very simple year. We used easy peasy all-in-one homeschool online, which is completely free. And we just supplemented with the things that we had, or we went to the library. We did reading, writing, and math. And then we just played a ton. We went on hikes. We went looking in the ponds and the creeks and the rivers and all of there's so much fun nature around here. You could do basically anything. And so we would just go explore. We would hop in the car and drive to a park and just explore that park. And it was great. We did so many nature studies that were just impromptu, like we just made it up, in that moment. And that was honestly one of my favorite years. Now, it was a very stressful year because we had moved. We didn't know anybody. We were trying to find a new house. I was actually really lonely for those first several months, and that was hard, but I just plugged into my kids. And that is what I did to kind of get myself through that. And it was great. It was probably my favorite homeschool year that we've ever had. And we didn't do anything to write home about. It was just a very, very simple year. We didn't do any big projects. We didn't do any unit studies. We didn't do any presentations or memorizing poems or anything like that. It was just so simple, but it was just the best year. So I say that because a lot of people feel like they need to do all the things, or they need to have the beautiful curriculum, and they need to have all the fancy crafts and flashcards and whatever you may need. And I'm telling you, you don't need that. You don't need that at all, period. But especially in a season of your life where you kind of need to simplify and pare down, just do the reading, writing, and math, and supplement with lots of reading about science and history and all those different things. Because if you're reading, the kids are absorbing and they are able to regurgitate that, and they're able to kind of synthesize it. And it works really, really well, especially if you have younger kids. Now, if you have middle school, high school age kids, obviously you can't do that. You need to make sure that they are getting all their work done and writing and doing the things that they need to do to prepare themselves for high school and college. But especially in our case where we had all of our kids were 10 and under or whatever. Were they 10? Yeah, 10 and under. it was easy and it was really, really fun. And like I said, that was one of my favorite homeschool years. So after that year, we were settled into our new home after a huge renovation. Like I said, that was a crazy year. And so we settled into our new home. We got into our rhythm. We tried multiple different things for homeschooling. And if you have been with me very long on my channel, you will know that we have changed things up over and over and over again. This year we're actually continuing with the same thing that we did the previous year for the first time ever. Well, kind of. But yeah, we have changed things up, and I personally am okay with that because I feel like we as human beings and all of our children are constantly evolving and changing and becoming different people as we kind of learn to know ourselves, and as we learn whether our kids have learning disabilities or things that need extra attention or different areas that they really excel at. And you have to work all of those things into your homeschool. And so for us, I am totally fine with the fact that we have changed things over and over again. And, seasons of homeschool, you just make it work. So last year was probably the hardest year of my life. I would say from about May of 2018 until this summer was the hardest year that I have had. Part of that was because my mom got cancer again and was really sick, and that was very hard for me. And there were some days where like Mother's Day last year was honestly one of the worst days of my life, honestly. And nothing even happened that day. Nothing happened. It was just, my mom was just so incredibly sick, and it was terrifying. And yeah, that was a horrible, horrible day. And so I can remember that day after, because Mother's Day is obviously a Sunday, and that Monday after, I couldn't do anything. I felt so emotionally drained, and my mom was going to the hospital, and it was just, thank God she is doing great. She's in remission and she's doing really, really well. And she is just the most amazing woman of faith. She always just trusts God to carry her through. She is incredible. But she's doing really well, thankfully. But those few months were very, very hard for me. Even in the fall, even after we found out that she was okay and that the cancer was gone and that her levels were going up and things were good, I still really struggled. Like, I still had days where I just felt really down in the dumps about it. And I made a point to give myself grace. If you follow me on Instagram, I try to be very real and transparent on there. And if you were to go back to last fall, you would be able to kind of pinpoint those days where I would post pictures of like myself sitting on my deck reading a book or something like that, where I was just taking time for myself because I knew that there was a lot of stressful things going on in our life. And for my own sanity and for my own mental health, and then for my family as well, like I needed to take that time for myself. I think that self-care is incredibly important, and I am not the best at it at all. I will push and push and push until I'm absolutely exhausted. But I have been trying over the past year and a half to focus on more self-care, to really work on, during those really difficult seasons of life and seasons of homeschool, to make sure I take time for myself. And I would recommend that you do the same, even just little tiny things like going to the mailbox to get the mail by yourself and just kind of taking your time, like just take a slow little walk up the driveway. Just take your time, just get those few little minutes of time to yourself. And they really add up, and they're really helpful to just kind of like help you feel more sane, more mentally healthy, in those times that are really busy and really stressful. So then after that came all of Gregory's sickness, which I've shared so much about that on my channel, so I'm not going to go into it again. But he has been incredibly sick. Thankfully, he's doing better. He is on a lot of medication, but it's helping him get better. So that's really good. But this past year was very much a bare bones reading, writing, arithmetic year, from basically January through summer. My older two children were at the hybrid homeschool, so all of their assignments and all of their work was taken care of. It was all just assigned by the school. And so they just had to keep up with their work, and they did really well, and that was great. But for my younger three kids, I had them do reading, writing, and math as often as I possibly could. And for Gregory, because he was so sick, there were days where he literally spent the entire day in bed, and he just did not feel well. And so, special circumstances, you just have to do what you can do. And in that situation, we just did what we could do. And for my other boys, I was able to just do those simple reading, writing, and math. And Gregor and I were at so many appointments and getting his labs drawn, getting x-rays, MRI, biopsy, different scopes, like ultrasound, just so many things that he had going on. We were constantly out of the house doing appointments. And there were times where if he was feeling well enough, I would bring homeschool with us and we would just do it with us there, but it was still that simple reading, writing, and math. And then for my younger boys, honestly, there were days where they didn't do school. They just didn't do school. And I had to be okay with that because I would try to kind of make up for it on the days when we did do school. They would double up or even triple up sometimes, especially with math. And, you know, you just do what you have to do because there are going to be times in your life as a homeschooling parent where you really can only just survive. You can only do the minimum. And that is okay because the good thing about homeschool is that it all evens out eventually. And so I was really excited when the Adventurous Mailbox, how cute is that? When they contacted me and wanted to send us a package because Gregory has had such a hard year. And anything that can make learning fun for him is what I'm all about right now because I don't want it to be drudgery. I don't want him to be miserable trying to get caught up with all of his schoolwork and all of that. And he has dyslexia too, which just doesn't really help the situation. And so I was so excited when they wanted to send us a package because I knew that Gregory would absolutely love this. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys right now a clip of him opening up the mailbox and give you a little bit of information about it. Make sure you check out my description box down below for more details about how you can also get an Adventurous Mailbox for your family, for your children, because it is the best, most fun supplement for homeschool. It is so neat. Honestly, I tell you, I was blown away. Like I was like, oh, this sounds like a really cool thing. Gregory will really like it. I had no clue how many resources there were in this one simple package. It was incredible. And I am excited because we're going to be using it like for the next several months in our homeschool, just kind of looking through all of the different things. So I'm not going to talk about it now. I'm going to stop. I want you guys to look at it. I want you to see it. And I'm telling you, you're going to be really impressed. So Gregory received this package in the mail. First off, it looked so cool. Just the envelope alone was just so incredibly neat. And so he opened it up and was just blown away by all the things that were inside the package. This delivery is his top secret introduction, and it has 8 amazing adventure books that were written by the person who sent the package. They also invite each kid to join their secret online community, which was so neat. Gregory absolutely loved it because there were so many things. Like I could not get over how many things were available on this website. And he was really excited about the programming aspect of it. So we are definitely going to be working on that in our homeschool this year. So once you go to the website, you can get your kids registered and they'll be able to chat with other kids, play games, take part in contests for prizes, study really cool things, and so much more. So once you finish the books, you can use the NEVA codes to actually go inside of the country that you looked at. These aren't your normal programming projects. They're very, very different, and they are all related to the books that have been read. So if you just read the book about Brazil, you'll be chasing a mythical being around scenes in Rio de Janeiro. There's so many fun, different ways to be able to explore deeper into all of these books. There are top secret writing missions, blogs, jokes and riddles, a really silly game, which Gregory absolutely loved, forums, millions of links. Well, not millions, but lots of links. You can even be entered to win a prize. There's different languages, there's different food and culture, and so much more. So first you begin by reading all of the books, and then you can dive into all of the different things that are available on the website. It is so neat, and the quality is just incredible. The books are beautiful. The packaging is beautiful. Even the box that everything comes in is so neat. I love it. And Gregory loved it too. Thank you so much to the Adventurous Mailbox for sending this package to Gregory. He loves it, and we really, really appreciate it. We hope that you guys will check out all the information in the description box below so that you can get a package for your children as well. Thank you so much for watching this video. Like I said, please don't forget to subscribe if you'd like to see the other videos that are coming up in this collab. Also, make sure you check out the Adventurous Mailbox. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.